स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्निर्दाहिका शक्तिः रामकृष्णे स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। Namaste to you all. We have met earlier twice. We have been dealing with the same subject. And I want to continue it for a longer time till we almost go through various civilizations that came up in the past, of which presently we are in that flow. So all aspects of spirituality and religion in this world we can go on discussing. Perhaps years after years also it will not be ending. So before we proceed from the last class, we will just have a recapitulation of the last class. We saw in the last class the human existence. Like all other beings, humans also have self-consciousness and consciousness of the environment in which we are. I am self-consciousness and the consciousness of the Arum. In ancient people, this self-consciousness made them to become aware of their identity. They built an identity. I am. The early humans, you can imagine, which lack in the normal because he is self-conscious. The animal life and all are not self-conscious. So when we are self-conscious, the first thing they got is the self-consciousness brought them to the awareness of self-identity and responsibility. I have some responsibility to discharge. Sense of duty came into picture. And similarly, the science that I am apart from the external awareness. I am conscious of the external awareness, that external consciousness started seeking safety here in this world. What do we see? The moment we see the external world, we want to be safe, especially in early days. You imagine, we are totally exposed to the nature. So safety is one thing, security, protection, and all this brought. At the same time, we were passing through, I am telling we were, because human evolution we are dealing with. We have come to this stage now. At the same time, they came to the awareness of the passing of time. Time is fleeting. All objects and all that we see is impermanency. Situations are transient. Life is ephemeral. All these experiences, they started experiencing in day-to-day life. And the whole universe is just a constantly changing flux. This understanding made them to search, is there anything permanent in this world? Can we stretch and see something beyond. On one side, this is the thing, and this brought us to the spiritual awarenesses. But before we can enter into that, the first thing was seeking safety and all that. And there came into the picture governance, police, defense, and all this came into picture. Similarly, we see the man did not, once the external security is over, we are secured life, because these things, external things, this is what we call civilization. In civilization, we expand horizontally. All things we try to utilize for our living. On one side, this was over. Now, what next we think is, I want to be happy. I want to be joyful. Not only seeking my security and everything, I want food to eat and everything is all right. Everything is provided now. Then what? Then I want to seek always to be happy and to be joyful. This builds up culture. Civilization is how to sustain life in this world. The culture is how can I be happy. So with this, the civilization gave birth to this is what we have studied in last class, gave birth to the culture. In culture, there is vast difference between civilization and culture. Civilization leads to science and technology, and here on the other side, the culture makes us happy and peaceful. So these two aspects of this one leading to science, the search, they started searching. Search began in two ways, external, outward going, and one inward going. Search can be only two directions. The two trails we see in the ancient people, going outside and searching, and inward journey to these two searches. One led to science and technology, other led to our inner seeking of the spirituality. So these two ways we studied in the last class, and the civilization, in the important thing we have to note here is that civilization is not an abrupt starting. That also we studied in the last class. It is not, civilization abruptly did not start. It is actually the civilization, if there is Stone Age, if you accept there was a Stone Age, the Stone Age presupposes highly evolved state of human existence. The highly evolved state of a human, when the man becomes highly intelligent, super intelligent, intelligence reaches its acme, the peak, when it reaches, it destroys itself and enters again, its purpose is over, intellectual development. Now, it again, like a seed forming out of tree, before the tree falls off, it enters into involution state, inward state of existence. This inward, from the inward state, again, the stone from Stone Age, again, it evolves. It is cyclic, it's going on. Many cultures and civilizations appear and disappear. So this is what we saw in the last class, and then the dichotomy that we see, Eastern, what happened is there is two divisions, the external going science and technology and inward going spirituality. Both had the whole of world civilization. We see 23 degrees to the north and south of equator. It is the belt in which all the civilizations have formed. In this civilization, whole thing was simultaneously, almost whatever time it came into existence. The nature of man we see is constant. And these also went outward and inward, these also went outward and inward. But here the external condition of nature was not allowing to transcend the nature and go beyond. And these people, Eastern people, had conducive atmosphere to finally develop their own. The external one is comfortable, they can devote themselves to the inner. Religion, science, they limited to the extreme need. Science, how much is needed? Diverted whole attention to spiritual and try to transcend. Here, the science was given importance. The spiritual development remained at religion level. And the science and technology advanced. This is the difference between this East and West dichotomy, what we see, is not according to geographical. It is based on the tendencies that we develop. Tendency spirituality with minimum expression of minimum expression of minimum expression of science. Here, Western, external more, and this the tendency how we develop towards the spirituality, towards science and technology. This is the dichotomy that we see in the this one. This is the recapitulation part of our life, the previous class. Now we will see, now we go ahead with the present class. Now we have seen we are presently this flow of civilization. What we are today is a resultant of all past civilizations. Countless civilizations came and disappeared. Many glittered forth, almost all glittered forth in their time. And as it was disappearing, we see the new culture is about to come, new civilization is about to come somewhere. Many have left back a mark on the history. Many must have disappeared without leaving any trace behind. We have the proof of the monuments left behind, like pyramids of Egypt and all that, the civilization. We existed. How we existed, how we lived, look at us. Similarly, others have left behind some relics and some things from which the archaeologists have later on found how they lived, what they lived. We are in the present. The present is the resultant of all the past civilization that passed away. And the term civilization is being used. Civilization we use. Though humanity existed for millions of years, it has been existing. We in our normal terminology use this civilization, and archaeologists especially use civilization. When they say the people who are wandering about here, there for food and all that, they settle down in a place with a definite way of living, a source of their sustenance. They need a sustenance. Usually what we seek is always water source, constant water source, like a river or anything. Indus Valley, for example. Some place where constant source of water is there, and we adopt to agriculture. And we see from here, these people are said to be beginning with the civilization began. But earlier to that, the earlier phase is there where humans lived. but they had not settled down. The civilization was, we call them uncivilized, yet, but they lived together in perfect harmony, affection for each other, a joyful living. Though they were not civilized, like agriculture, this, that, house building, nothing was there. They might have lived in the cave, but culture was there. Here we differentiate between culture. They happily lived in harmony, loving each other. Of course, there must have been some clash or something for sustenance and for unavoidable things, but not out of greed or anything. That what we see today in our this one, the how we are using our intelligence and all that. But they lived a beautiful culture began much before how to live happily in this world, whatever be the circumstances, how to live. And this is the culture that we inherit from pre-civilized states. Civilization came after, suppose we accept it as civilization. And hereafter we see the people slowly turning towards, once they are settled down nicely, agriculture is happening, they devoted their life and time to sowing seeds, picking up the products, and all that, the tameable animals with which they can live, horse, cows and all that. They started living. Life was comfortable and everything what is needed for sustenance and this one was they could procure. Now they slowly they turn towards how to remain, how to get joy in life, how to find. The first thing is I want to be comfortable, I want to be joyful. There the culture takes a solid form, clear format. Here the play, arts, sculpture, all these begin. Music, these are all parts of culture. Civilization is science and technology, how we live in this world. Once the security and everything is over, we turn to culture to stabilize the culture, culture stabilization. Culture is what remains with us forever as an internal companion in our life. Safety, security and all that became the moral codes and social codes of living, government, defense, all that came into existence. On the other side, we were seeking something other than, once the basic needs are completed, we start seeking. On one side, the play and all that began. On another side, we started seeking lasting internal peace. I want the internal peace. And then helps in danger, succor in distress. All these things give birth to theology and religion. Theology and religion. Religion, in the sense of religion, the spirituality doesn't appear in religion. Though religions have the essence of spirituality, basis is spirituality because man's basis is existence is spiritual, divine. That is the base. From there it emerges. We see slowly emergence is there. So whole thing, the religion appear first. Oh, there must be a power which is controlling all this perfectly going on in this universe. There must be someone who governs the law and order of the. You can see a seed put in the earth, how it germinates. It's bound to germinate. What a law. How it gives fruit, how it grows, how it becomes another seed. With what perfection it moves. Look at the stars and planets and other heavenly bodies moving about. with what perfection they move. There must be a power which is governing all this. The same power is governing our lives also. When we feel distressed, when we have to unburden our heart, a place we need to unburden our heart. We knowingly or unknowingly, we make mistakes. Guilt accumulates within. Where can I dissolve my guilt and misdeeds? All this we see appearing in us, that slowly we start clinging to a power which can give us solace and succor. And this we started calling God. And this God concept is not something that has, suffering alone has made. No, it is the innate nature of man. And then the efforts to transcend and go beyond. The efforts to transcend and go beyond brought spirituality and philosophy. In our Eastern, especially Eastern world, you will see how much of important, all life, everything that presently and from your past lives, everything is there, especially in Hinduism when we take up, we will see every bit of our thoughts, actions, feelings, our rites and procedures of religion, everything is either connected directly, not something intermediate explanation, no. It is purely based either on the nature and its working, the nature's participation in human life, how the nature is controlling the life of every individual, the laws that govern human life, on that and the divine. My own real existence, independent of bodily existence. We separate from the bodily existence every day. Nature makes us separate when we sleep. Go to our core and again manifest externally. Who am I that? That divinity, it is based on that divinity and the nature governing our life. So here we see the whole thing that we are expanding in two ways of science and technology on one side and the cultural aspect on the other side. Now we have earlier seen two trails of advancing the science and technology on one side and culture on the other side. These two are clearly distinct things. One gives us external bodily comforts, pleasures, joys of happiness at physical level. But culture, that is spirituality, gives us inner freedom, inner peace, inner bliss, which is holding on to which we become stable in our life. The situations of life do not affect me anymore. Slowly I grow independent of my bodily existence. It gives inner lasting peace, a peace that never goes away. The bliss that never leaves me, the inner freedom of the soul, which is free from all bondage that we experience. So here we see this difference and this advancement of science, scientific advancement towards the civilization and other culture, moving to one towards the external material developments and maintenance, another side it is moving towards the inner peace and joy. Material developments are here spiritual evolution. One is horizontal expansion, one is vertical expansion. So this is two distinct aspects of our life's movement, advancement, then culture we see is purely humanizing and divinizing factor, culture. And the other aspect of our life and existence, the science and technology, is actually it is when culture gives us the human dignity, science tries to destroy, debase our human dignity. The more civilized we are, more we are entering into science and technology, we are seeing that each human is losing his own identity as if becoming like a machine. He doesn't have any base in his life and existence. He is losing himself. But culture is what is maintaining my identity, maintaining my peace and joy. So these two aspects of our existence, and culture is the domain of values. We are the values, whole values, human values, highest, supreme ideals of human existence, to sacrifice my life for something great. It's a part of culture. It is not a part of civilization. We are civilized, but culturally, we are slowly, our culture is getting destroyed. But in ancient times, they give most importance to culture and less importance for material developments and science. And we call them uncivilized. They were happiest people living with nature. Though we call them in our terminology as uncivilized. We are civilized because we have nuclear power in our hand and some gadgets around and a mobile cell phone in our hand. We keep ourselves highly civilized. But culturally, they cared for culture. They did not worry about if material things, material body comes and goes, material things come and go. Let us be happy. Let us sacrifice. This term of sacrifice, giving myself to a higher ideal. Here comes the ideal. Ideals for which I live. Values are, I must not harm the nature anyway, any human being or any being in the world. I should not get hurt myself with my own actions. These becomes values of life. But to dedicate our life becomes the higher aspects of my existence. The evolution, there comes into the evolution. We are speaking about the evolution at spiritual level and at expansion. See, the cultural expansion is always with spirituality at the core and circles, ever expanding circles of religion. Religions are multiple, but spirituality is one. The basis and culmination of all religion is this. Spirituality at the core and ever expanding circles of religion. In case of civilization, science is the core. In scientific civilization, we have science as the core and technology as ever expanding external circles. It is good. Technology is increasing in every aspect. Just presently you see one computer, all fields, medical fields, this, that, military and unimaginable dimension it has entered. Science is one, but technology expansion is there. here spirituality and religion. This is how we are the two dichotomy, entirely different fields. And where do we join this? When science is not going to hurt anybody anyway, it is not detrimental to the peace and joy of human existence. It doesn't harm the nature in any way. That scientific development, that civilization merges with the culture. This society in which the culture and civilization has merged beautifully, helping each other, joining hands for the welfare of human existence and nature's protection, and of all beings on this earth and every way. So this is supposed to be the ideal society. And this ideal society we see ages back in the early civilization, which we are missing today again. So ancient times, early human existence was a society which was perfectly an ideal society of those age. We stop here for the day.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Now we would start questions and answers. Maharaj, we got a first question. The question is, Maharaj, you mentioned that there is a difference between culture and civilization. What is to be done to make the culture a little bit better?
Yes. We need both aspects of our life. On one side, we need science and technology for our living, but we have to develop in such a way, like old Hinduism, where science never harmed nature or human beings. This is the first need of our, that everything the science finds out must in present or in future or any time in the ages after also should not be harmful. Now we are throwing an assault on nature. We are destroying nature in a way, and a kind of fear and anxiety has entered into the people who are great people who are seeking the welfare of human existence on this earth. For example, just to take the alterations of genes, DNA and all that, what kind of humans are going to be there in future, we do not know. Demonical beings can come into picture, just like hybrid vegetables we may have. It may give rise to some drastic, frightening situation where man has lost all his intelligence and moral standards. One alteration in brain is sufficient, and we are accustomed to preserve the species. In humans, whatever we are, whatever state a human is there, we want to protect him. Now, in animal life, you will never see a blind animal or a bird living on this earth because they cannot survive. Their gene is destroyed with the one which is born, but we preserve. The DNA we are going to preserve of every. And when the animals lay their young ones, suppose tiger or dog, you see even rabbit I saw with my own eyes when it giving birth. One of the, it goes on, moves, smells and touches and sees, and one of that it eats away. That is supposed to be deformed child. It doesn't allow that particular genes to continue. and we see everything is fine. But in human, everybody is suffering, suffering, suffering. This is the advancement of science and destruction of culture. Now, to preserve culture, we have to alter we will not go against the nature. We live close to nature. Nature is taking care of every life on this earth. All are happy. Dignified they get birth, dignified they live. I lived in the forest for many, many years. I closely watched their life. As they become old, they cannot move anymore. As long as they can graze, they go and graze. Then one day it cannot move. It slowly lies down. No repentance, no fear, no anxiety. Just look at the sky. Just look at the nature. Nature wants me to die. It accepts, wholeheartedly accepts. What a dignified death, you see. How we panted while dying, holding on to so many desires and ambitions. Tremendous fear and anxiety will leave the body. Is it life? Is it human life? Before the life ends, you should have finished the journey to the spiritual. As the old age comes, the spiritual youth must have come. And he must have left the body before body leaves him. And live in the body as Jivan Mukta. Where is it? Where are we humans? So being divine, being endowed with intelligence, we must remember one thing. Even the ancient people knew and regarded the actual nature of human is divine. Intellect is divine, spiritual. They consider intellect as spiritual by its own nature. It may be adopted anyway, but it is spiritual, and man is divine by nature. This is the old understanding of the early humans, how they respected each other. That we have to bring that first. Do we love? Two things. One, unconditional love, try to give. Whatever you are, I love you. That all discord dissolves. In spirituality and divinity, all differences dissolve. Be spiritual, live a spiritual life. Love all, begin with your own family. How much of discord we have within the family. There is no harmony. There is no harmony inside. There is no harmony in the family. There is no harmony outside. Everywhere conflict. Internal conflicts are growing. External conflicts are growing. Dissolve all that, dissolve. In the one spiritual awareness, I am child of God. I am divine. Bring that again and again and again. You will see, if each soul on this earth, each human on this earth, some extent, to the extent possible, tries to live a spiritual life, culture shines forth. And we utilize science and technology as we are utilizing today, without harming anyone, without harming the nature. This is how we grow our culture and utilize without destroying anything. We tactfully utilize for the welfare of all of us. Yes, then anything else?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, we have one more question. In our present culture and civilization, where are we going? What is our future as humanity?
Yes. Nature is a balancing factor, always. You see, when diseases come, to human life in us. Nature tries to heal and in a very possible way. It wants to bring back to health. A bacteria have entered, an abscess is there. Formation of abscess is to throw away the bacteria. It opens up one day, throws away what is unwanted, and again closes and heals. But that formation of abscess, pus accumulation within, it's coming to maturity and break opening. All this you will have to bear. Nature cures. Similarly, the curses of nature, curses of humanity, the misdeeds, all that we are doing, holding on to civilization. Civilization has gone so far, and it is suppressing culture. If it grows, it doesn't matter. There's suppression of culture. Culture, every moment we are leaving our culture and moving towards enjoyments and possessions. So this should not happen. If I am correct, Schaffner says, men are, Pluto says, men are more intent on accumulating riches than on preserving culture. Though they know regarding the soul culture, he says, though they know, though it is a thing that we understand always, that what happiness, it is, we see that he says, though we understand and know, it is what man is gives real happiness than what he possesses. What you are gives you happiness or misery than what you possess. Still, man runs after the riches. So this tendency in us we have to destroy. Everything becomes all right. What was the main thing in this question? Second question. Where we are going to culture and civilization. Yes. Nature has a balancing factor. When the things go beyond the control, she uses the rod. One brain, she puts the warfare. That one person will be responsible for destruction of another country. Root out its existence. We have seen in the history, Hitler and all those people, how they cleared the human race. And similarly, the Vikopa of nature, the revolt, the nature, with vengeance she acts, tsunami and things like earthquakes, thousands disappear. One scientist's brain, when corona entered, all doors were closed. This is how she balances back human and civilization and culture. When man reaches the highest intelligence, he destroys himself. Now nuclear is sufficient. If it reaches wrong hands, on one day the whole earth will be destroyed. India needs 3, other small countries around need each one. Earth will be blasted on particular day, just like Independence Day. it will be destructive day. And all lives, except a few, perhaps on the top of the ice-bound places like polar regions, may survive, or in the depths of the ocean, a few lives. Again, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, from Stone Age, again it begins. The highly evolved is entering into, when tree is growing to its fullness, it is moving towards its destruction. Before it falls off, it throws thousands of seeds and vegetation may remain. So when a culture and civilization is dying away, before it dies, it enters into involved state like seed. That will be, again, the man becomes primitive man. From there again, the culture and civilization in a new way, in a new form, entirely new. We will not see electricity and magnetism anymore. No computers. You see the last Ramayana, Mahabharata, when you read, just a mantra can invoke any power on the earth, including Brahmastra, just through mantras. So some power, something will come up and new. This involution and evolution process, everything is going on cyclic way. So civilization and culture are also going that way. But as long as we are alive, we will strive ourselves to preserve and enhance, understand. Even dictionaries do not give correct version or meaning of the term culture. Culture has not been defined properly. We are trying to understand the significance of culture. The great civilizations of the past always insisted upon great culture. All great men who came insisted that is the only solution for all problems of human life, to be spiritual, to be spiritual, to be spiritual, to recognize our divinity. We can see Sri Ramakrishna coming, Vivekananda's coming, insisting on you are divine, you are divine. Look within, transcend the bodily existence, transcend the nature, go beyond, be free forever. Again, we have to wake up to our inner call. The spirit is calling, we are rushing towards the external world of enjoyment. The flute of Krishna is calling within, and we have turned our deaf ears there and hear some dirty music which excites the senses we are busy with. So this has to change. We have to grow. We have to listen to the call of the divine, call of nature, and wake up before destructive as nature takes her rod in her hand. All right? Anything else?
No, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you, everyone, for this wonderful and uplifting satsang. Pranam, Maharaj, if you kindly conclude the session.
Niranjanam nityamanantarupa bhaktanukampa dhrutavigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidhyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namo.